We're definitely excited that you chose GHOne TV tonight. This is News Tonight, and my name is Kweku. Temeng. Tonight we bring you the latest happenings throughout the country, and we would want you to stay with us throughout the 1 hour period as we share all these detailed stories and many more with you. But before we do so, let's look at some of the top stories that we have for you tonight. Coming up in the next 60 minutes, lead member of Democracy Hub, Oliver Baka-Vomawo, admitted at police hospital over ill health. We shall tell you more. Also coming up tonight, widespread condemnation greets remand into custody of members of Democracy Hub over charges of unlawful assembly, unlawful destruction of property, amongst others.
This is the issue and challenge. We really have to do something about it. Otherwise, it is going to keep reoccurring. Just like last year, 49 protesters were arrested. I hear that case is still in court. It's not been concluded.
Tonight, we'll talk about politics, and ahead on your election hub, GHOne admonishes flag bearers of MPP and NDC to consider each other as brothers and not enemies.
Time for reflection, time for exercising our democratic rights with responsibility, and for ensuring that peace reigns in the supreme interest of the good people of Ghana.
Still on your election hub, some members of the People's National Convention described Bernard Mona as an illegitimate flag bearer of the party. Tonight, we'll bring you more in politics.
We don't see them as our leaders. The only person who is legitimately elected by the party, and we know, is Honorable David Apasera.
In business, Action Aid Ghana calls for redirection of financing to support agroecology. Tonight we'll bring you more when we get to business. We have these and many other interesting stories making the 1 hour bulletin. Stay with us as we share more on politics with you, dovetail into business, and also bring you more in sports. We'll be back shortly with all the details. Well, thank you very much for choosing GHOne TV. Let's take the details of our stories tonight. And in his final address to the United Nations General Assembly as his presidency approaches its end, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has reaffirmed Ghana's unwavering dedication to democratic principles as the nation approaches its 2024 elections. Well, his remarks come at a time when West Africa grapples with a surge of military coups that threaten the stability and progress achieved within the economic community of West African states. But as Redwan Karim Dini Osman reports, the president stayed silent on some key concerns back home, especially around environmental issues.
President Akufo-Addo addressed the growing threat of military takeovers in countries like Mali, Guinea, Burkina Faso, and Niger. He warned that democracy is delicate and must be constantly safeguarded. He emphasized that Ghana stands firm in its dedication to upholding democratic principles.
As my presidency draws to a close, I want to assure this assembly that the upcoming 2024 elections in Ghana will be free, fair, and transparent. Ghanaians have demonstrated time and again in the last 3 decades their strong attachment to democracy, which they will not permit to be undermined. The Electoral Commission, supported by Ghana's security services, is well equipped to ensure that the will of the Ghanaian people is respected.
The president also highlighted Africa's potential, calling for the continent to be seen not just as a recipient of aid, but as a true partner on the global stage. He took a swipe at the United Nations Security Council and repeated his calls for reforms.
Madam President, it is impossible to address the challenges of today without speaking of the contradictions that exist within this global institution. We gather here to discuss peace, but wars continue to ravage nations. We speak of justice, yet justice endures. Take the Russian invasion of Ukraine, for instance. Millions of lives have been uprooted. Thousands have lost their lives, and yet the Security Council has struggled to respond decisively, just as it is struggling to make a decisive intervention in the tragic ongoing war in Gaza and the Lebanon.
Kweku says there is a need for collective action in addressing global inequalities. The president, however, made no mention of the ongoing unrest back home, where dozens of protesters remain in detention following a brutal crackdown on anti-illegal mining demonstrations. Instead, he spent a considerable amount of time touching on his achievements in health, digitalization, and education.
In Ghana, we've taken bold and decisive steps to ensure that no one is left behind in our national development, and we have shown that it is possible. Our flagship free senior high school policy has benefited 5.7 million young people, many of whom would have been denied the opportunity to learn, to dream, and to succeed.
For now, the spotlight on Ghana shines in two places. One on the grand halls of the United Nations, where the president speaks of his achievements and the nation's future. The other on the streets of Accra, where citizens who rallied calls for the nation's environment continue to fight for their rights from behind bars. From the UN headquarters in New York, I am Ridwan Karim Dini Osman, reporting for GHOne News.
Okay, at Platinum Place, my name is Kweku. Let's take you to the central region, where some patients who throng to the GHOne District Government Hospital to receive treatment are often forced to sleep on plastic chairs and benches due to the inadequate hospital beds. EIB Network Central Regional Correspondent Yabwe Jan reports that the situation is affecting the quality of healthcare delivery in the facility.
Plastic chairs and benches have become the replacements for beds at the GHOne District Government Hospital in the Central Region. Patients who visit the facility are forced to sleep on these plastic chairs while receiving treatments. This is because most of the beds at the facility have broken down. Dr. Daniel Akwa is the Acting Medical Director of the GHOne District Government Hospital.
So we are greatly honored to have the GHOne Teachers Credit Union come to donate 10 beds to the facility, and we believe that this good gesture is going to help solve some of the problems that we have. We are hoping for a long-lasting relationship with the credit union, and we are hoping that in future they will even collaborate with us to further expand other areas of the facility and make the delivery of healthcare in the facility one that everybody deserves.
The District Director of Education of the GHOne ECM District, Sabina Abba Wilson, also outlined other challenges facing the hospital and appealed for support from the public.
And machines bebre asay ntina ye hiamboa na yede to credit union for wonenyim na we tuma no pay wa beche hene bi nta oboboa hene adwuma ye individuals organizations bia won so obotum wa boa hene bi inye computer nkoten ye hia printer because ye print ye adwuma bia ye be bia order ye print nti ye hia printer so yes account nti obi obotum wa boa ye PCB no nye printer no so ye beda na se.
To help remedy the situation, 10 hospital beds and 2 computers were donated to the facility as part of the 30th anniversary celebration of the GHOne District Teacher Union. Dorothy Ansa is the CEO for the GHOne ECM District Teacher Credit Union.
The 30th anniversary. Kweku Azibebre. In the GHOne Health Service Hospital bed 10. Nyan bota in the young baby hospital yampa wandado. The Maya the Ayer hospital na in yampa sondado. Now who some kese papa until when the bob at the bed Wacom hospital no. A few young education did be say be digital. Once we hear computers, our born when you may not to my code, and so and a computers, a bien, that also found one on to make our education.
When you get, you give back to society, and that's just what they have done. It's now time for us to bring you Insight tonight, and it's proudly brought to you by Pepsodent. With Pepsodent, every smile matters. On Insight tonight, the Ghana Police Service has denied claims it is subjecting the Democracy Hub protesters to inhumane treatment. Well, this comes on the back of allegations that some of the protesters who joined the 3-day Stop the Galamsey demo were held in police custody for more than 48 hours in a blatant disregard for constitutional provision. Well, 39 protesters were on Tuesday remanded, with the remaining suffering a similar fate today. Well, the court, however, told lawyers of the accused persons that they could come with a formal bail application at the next court date. Well, they all pleaded not guilty to 6 counts of conspiracy, unlawful assembly, causing unlawful damage, offensive conduct conducive to the breach of peace, assault on public officer, and defacement of public notice. Well, meanwhile, news just coming in says lead member of the Democracy Hub, Oliver Baka-Vomawo, and Felicity Nelson, as well as 11 other persons, have been remanded for a day by the court. Mutala Enusa was in court, and he joins us for more on this particular development. Mutala, thank you very much for your time. So it appears the day has been a long one. Run us through how it played out in court today, Mutala.
Yeah, so just like yesterday, today the case also traveled very, very long. As at 2:30, that was when the accused persons were brought. In fact, they were, if you look at the charge sheet that was put before the court, has 13 names. And out of the 13 names, only 11 of them were present in court. And conspicuously missing was Oliver Baka-Vomawo. What the prosecution indicated to the court was to the effect that Oliver Baka was taken ill, and currently he is at the police hospital receiving treatment, and for that accounted for the reason he wasn't present in court. Then the second person who was absent, one Fanny, was also told that he was supposed to have been part of those who were arraigned yesterday. However, because he was taken ill, he was unable to come to court, or they didn't bring him to the court yesterday. So that is how come he was supposed to be in court today, and that did not happen. However, the court also made the point that the prosecution indicated to the court that looking at what has happened, the 11 who are in court, their plea should be taken, so that the remaining 2 who were absent because of ill health, whenever they are ready and the prosecution, the doctors discharge them fit, they will come to court to respond to their charge. Then counsel for the accused person, particularly Dr. Justice Remsai, raised the point that as it stands now, Oliver Baka-Vomawo is not being tried in absentia, and prosecution has not also invoked the proper procedure, for which reason the court should discharge him from the custody of the police, especially when he is not well, so that he can be able to take care of himself, heal properly, and also mount defense. The court took the plea of the remaining 11. They pleaded not guilty to conspiracy, unlawful assembly, causing unlawful harm, offensive conduct to the breach of peace, and of course defacement of public notices. Then the lawyers, one after the other. And today's sitting was different from yesterday. Why was it different? Yesterday, if you look at the bail application that was moved by the defense lawyers in relation to all the accused persons, they lumped all of them together. But today's sitting was different. Each of the defense lawyer for the representing the accused person, for instance, Dr. Justice Remsai represented 3. Oliver Baka-Vomawo, Felicity Nelson, and one other. So he took
2 of them were not.
Yes, the 2 of them, 2 were not present in court. So out of the 13, so the 11 that were present. However, because all of them were on the charge sheet, he has to make a prayer for bail. So Oliver Baka, Felicity Nelson, and one other, he took turns to advance argument in support of the bail for them. And then the other accused person who were represented also took time to apprise the court why the accused person should be granted. But however, because of time constraint, at the time that we were done with the case, it was 5:50. 5:50. The court closes at 4. So 5:50, then that means an hour and 50 minutes more has been added to it. The court looked at the situation and said, look, the accused persons are remanded until tomorrow, 1:30, where the court will hear. The prosecution have indicated clearly that they will oppose to the bail application. And so prosecution will respond to the issue of bail, the argument that has been advanced by the defense lawyers. Then the court now will have a balanced argument to be able to decide whether to grant a bail application be moved or to deny the bail. So that is what happened in relation to today's sitting.
I'm sure a lot of people were looking forward to Oliver Baka-Vomawo.
Absolutely.
I mean, the lead coming to court today. I want to find out from you, was there any detail about the health issues raised by the lawyer?
Yeah, so when the case was called, the court asked of the whereabouts of the 2 accused persons that were not present in court. Then prosecution submitted medical reports on all of them to the court, explaining to the court that as we speak, both of them are at the police hospital. And so because they are unwell, they have been detained there and are going treatment. So when they are declared fit by the doctors, they will now come to court to respond to the charges. And that was clearly the reason that the prosecution made to the court. So they made that officially known to the court, supporting that particular instance with a medical report, the reason why the 2 accused were not present. But the remaining 11 were present in court, including Felicity Nelson, whose parents were also present in court. So as part of bail application, they made reference to the point that some of them they are gainfully employed, they have fixed places of abode, they are not flight risk. When granted bail, they will always be present in court to assist the court, especially so also because if you look at the charges leveled against them, they are just misdemeanor. And somebody like Felicity Nelson, misdemeanor offense, they cannot make him run away from the country. But of course, the court tomorrow will hear submissions or argument from state prosecutors. Then the court will weigh all the argument made and decide whether to grant the accused person's bail or not. So tomorrow, 26th of September at 1:30, the parties will reconvene. And the police presence, Kweku, just as we showed you videos earlier, was so massive. But today's numbers, as compared to yesterday, today's number reduced a bit. But of course, the police did not, as it were, take chances at all as to unexpected happenings and all that. So they made sure that they detailed a lot of their personnel, heavily armed, heavily protected, to come and man the facility. So if you come to the premises of the circuit court, particularly the building that housed Circuit Court 6, it was very interesting to see what happened today in relation to. So tomorrow, they'll be back in court.
Mutala, you are always good at this. I mean, you get the opportunity to speak to the lawyers of the accused. I mean, did you attempt anything of such, and what responses were you getting?
Yeah, so one of the counsels of the defense lawyers, particularly counsel who has the 11th accused person who's defending the 13th accused person, he said that I've had counsel with my client, and I looked at he is not consistent with what he's saying. So for counsel, he thinks that his client has some mental issues and was praying for him to be remanded, to be referred for psychiatric treatment. The court said he responded to the charges. So what point are you making? Tomorrow, the court will decide. But let's hear from counsel who is representing some of the accused persons, what he has been saying in relation to what happened.
I represented 2 of the accused persons, and one is at the police hospital. So we requested from the court for an unconditional release of the accused person as he needs medical attention. And also, one of the accused person I represented is someone who is not fit to stand trial because of his condition. Because from the incoherent speech of the accused person, one can visibly see that this person needs medical attention at the psychiatric hospital. And this is someone who was promised that if you ask any policeman, you say some things in Hausa to that policeman, the policeman will obviously give you food. So he only needed a policeman to ask him for food. And the policeman directed him to the next policeman who detained him because he approached him for food. So that person is obviously someone who is not fit to stand trial. Almost all the accused persons have different lawyers. So if all these different lawyers are urging on you to grant bail based on different conditions, one can only expect that the court will adjourn to consider same and rule on same tomorrow.
All right, so Mutala, thank you for all the details, but let's just get more on this particular subject as we stay a bit longer and engage Inusa Fusheni, a constitutional lawyer and a former ranking member of the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee of Parliament. Honorable, thank you very much for your time tonight. Let me find out from you. So you have had cause to accuse the police of high-handedness in their approach towards dealing with the protesters. Why so?
How will you describe the attitude of the police towards the Democratic Hub, who were protesting against leadership failure in the handling of the Galamsey menace? How else will you describe it other than being high-handed? The people who went onto the streets to demonstrate for 3 days were doing that with the overall national interest in mind. The present generation and the future generation are entitled to good health. We as a people went to the polls in 2020 and elected a president and charged him with the responsibility of ensuring that our health is not compromised. The president himself has said he was going to do all that was within his power to bring the menace under control. 4 years down the line, the president has failed woefully in doing that. What else do you want citizens to do to draw attention to the failure of the president?
Yes, but Honorable, some of these young men were captured on video, malhandling activities, and, so how would you respond to that? How were you expecting the police to respond to that?
So, when you look at the Public Order Act, there is no way that where a young man or a demonstrator causes an unlawful or is engaged in an unlawful activity, for that demonstrator's unlawful activity to be assumed by all the demonstrators. The law doesn't say that. The law only says that in the event that the police are unable to identify the person or persons who were engaged in an unlawful authority, then and only then will the conveners of the demonstration be held responsible for the acts of the demonstrators. You have just told me that some young men were engaged in an unlawful activity. Assuming but not admitting that was it, is it the case that all the demonstrators will be vicariously held responsible for the illegal activities or unlawful activities of some of the demonstrators? I say no. Our Ghana law frowns upon vicarious responsibility for the commission of a crime.
Honorable, so with all that has transpired, how would you want the situation handled going forward, especially the lawyers of the accused?
There is no other way to handle the what is going on than to respect the constitutional right of the demonstrators. They didn't just go onto the street because they wanted to go onto the street without regard to law. They followed the processes of the law. The Constitution gives them the right to engage in a demonstration. Demonstrations are inherent in the democracy. And so, for the police to treat them the way they are treating them suggests to me that the police are treating them as criminals. I do not know of any democracy where an attempt to enjoy a fundamental right as a right to demonstration is held and perceived to be criminal. This is only seen in dictatorships, but not in democracy. I also thought that the courts would have been minded to balance the right of the demonstrators to demonstrate freely on the streets of the country against the responsibility of the police to provide protection, and then strike a balance. And that balance must be in favor of upholding the fundamental right of the demonstrators to demonstrate.
Inusha Fuseni, thank you very much. We're grateful for your time. He is a constitutional lawyer. He joined us to speak on issues surrounding the protesters. Well, Mutala, just shortly, what next?
So tomorrow, God willing, the court will hear submission from state prosecutors. Then after, the court will now decide whether to grant the accused person's bail or not to grant bail. But somebody will ask a simple question that, why is it that Oliver Bak-Avomawo and one other were not present in court, but the order of the court affects them? The reason being that if you look at the charge sheet before the court, it names 13 people, and the 13 people include Oliver Bak-Avomawo. The court is here to take a decision as to whether to grant them bail or not. So all of them put together, the court is remanding them to tomorrow.
Mutala Inusa, thank you very much. We'll keep our cameras around the court. We'll bring you more updates tomorrow. What that would do for Insight for tonight, but we're not done with the bulletin. We're coming back shortly. We appreciate Pepsodent for making us bring you Insight tonight. We appreciate you for keeping faith with us. If you're just joining in, this is News Tonight, and my name is Kweku. Let's take other stories at this moment and hear the overlord of the Gonja traditional area, GHOne B. Kunuto Jeuswale I, has appealed to the flag bearers of the NPP and the NDC, that's Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and John Dramani Mahama, to view each other as brothers rather than political opponents. Well, the overlord appealed for harmony ahead of the December 7th election at the 2024 Damba Festival, stressing the importance of unity for a peaceful election season.
At the heart of Ghana's political landscape, the 2024 Damba Festival saw a profound message from the overlord of the Gonja traditional kingdom, GHOne B. Kunuto Jeuswale I. Addressing a gathering that included key political figures, the overlord appealed for harmony ahead of the December 7 elections. Speaking through a spokesperson, Bankrum Ra Bakari, the GHOne B. Kunuto emphasized the shared history between Gonjas and Mamprosis, calling for both leaders to embrace each other as brothers rather than political rivals. He noted that such recognition would not only ensure a peaceful election, but also strengthen Ghana's democracy.
This is a time for reflection, time for exercising our democratic rights with responsibility, and for ensuring that peace reigns in the supreme interest of the good people of Ghana.
The 2024 Damba Festival, themed Fostering Peace, Progress and Prosperity, also saw the launch of the B. Kunuto Educational Fund, aimed at improving educational opportunities across the Savannah region.
Through this fund, we hope to uplift our young people by providing them with the tools and opportunities they need to excel in a rapidly changing world. We must remember that the future of our kingdom lies in the education and empowerment of the next generation. Let this fund serve as a beacon of hope to ensuring that every child, regardless of the background, has access to quality education. We must not lose sight of the urgent need for economic development in the Gonja Kingdom. Our lands are rich not only in natural resources, but also in the human resource potential of the kingdom.
The paramount chief of Navrongo, Pe Asage Perry II, in his address, reiterated the need to protect the peace and democracy that Ghana is known for.
I therefore wish to add my voice and the voice of the chiefs and people of the Navrongo traditional area for our traditional and political leaders, religious leaders, state institutions, especially the local commission. Peace and development are a continuous process that require constant cultivation before the benefits are realized.
The event at the Jakpa Palace was attended by various dignitaries, including chiefs, queens, members of parliament, and government appointees.
Well, we have more political stories for you tonight on your Election Hub. Let's do some politics, and here we start off in the camp of the governing MPP's running mate, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, who says the proposed solutions to deal with the mining sector in the party's manifesto are bold. While addressing the chiefs and people of Numeresu and Chiapiaso in the Odotobri constituency, Dr. Opoku Prempeh urged the gathering to embrace the proposals from the party ahead of the 2024 elections.
Speaking to chiefs and residents of Numereso and Chiapiase in the Odotobri constituency of the Ashanti region, Dr. Opoku Prempeh said the NPP's main goal is to manage the mineral resources of the country to the benefit of the people. Dr. Prempeh assured the communities that a Bawumia presidency would promote community mining schemes as part of efforts to formalize and regulate environmentally sustainable small-scale mining.
Small-scale mining.
Dr. Prempeh appealed to constituents to vote massively for Dr. Bawumia in the presidential election and Anthony Mie, the NPP's parliamentary candidate for Odotobri, to ensure the continuation of these policies. He noted that the government is aware of local challenges such as poor network connectivity and road infrastructure and is committed to addressing them.
But the person is saying, I put you on the attire MPP, the Sabochana, the other promotions, a more fun time MPP, also by Rista, no child network in the day, a two. The enterprise. I bet you are our Bogana, what child network at MPP.
Anthony Mie, the parliamentary candidate for Odotobri, assured communities in the constituency that do not have communication network that the government is in the process of fixing their concerns.
Yes, 7 December. Diana Muka Champion for no penny forcing network, or Mube Kratum, where are the Yadims and Muhiamo, baby Pierre and you to a candy or our comments, the control. Where Prana would be Fraka.
In other political stories tonight, the running mate for the opposition National Democratic Congress as the NDC's Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman has reaffirmed the NDC's unwavering commitment to inclusivity and respect for all religious groups, unlike other parties. Well, thus she is urging the Muslim community to vote massively for the NDC since the party has their welfare at heart. Professor Opoku-Agyeman noted that while neither the NDC's flag bearer nor the running mate is Muslim, the party is accommodating of the concerns of the Muslim community.
President too. It's all task that Ghana for bread. Make a canoe for Kadidofo. Or see Hajj village. Or that part in the Kasi baby, easy Amobiana. Or my Muslim holidays. 19 Tabuaka Yama. Or share my Muslim schools. Your teachers are Papa or home. There's a more trauma from another. It's a hand yim. Krobia Ganani. Yama Church, my only Fiha. I want wooden and something to know and Kaho. Yanya Damada. There is President Okan Yimpabum. Mo Bunimpa. Mo Awayam Sishe. Mo Bumesiafo. Natami Bijinaha. It's a Bijinaha. Monim Dahana Mesiafo. Yanzamanka Krakaya Bay and Yazaka Hoye. Anamabwa. John
Well, some more in politics tonight. Some aggrieved and disenfranchised delegates of the People's National Convention have described the disqualification of Bernard Mona from the 2024 presidential race as a disgrace to the PNC party. While speaking during a press conference, leader for the aggrieved PNC members, Thomas Moon, called on the elections management body to annul the National Congress elections on the 7th of September 2024 and caused the party to rerun a credible National Congress, free, fair, and open to all party delegates.
It's a cabal at our party office now. And that group, they call themselves leaders, were not chosen by even 3/3 of our people. If it is a coup, it will not work. After they've pumped their champagne, they find out that the YC now is not going with them. We are telling the YC and the courts that they should stand straight and be fair. We don't want to be on the roads. We will not carry cutlasses and guns. We don't have them. But we have senses and we have brains. We know what to say and we know what to do to get the power back for our leader. If you see YC disqualifying Bernard Mona, it's because of his own mistakes. If you can import people from somewhere else and put them on the album, and you cannot be able to have time to fill your form well, and make sure everything is in order before you go, and that means God is rather punishing you. We don't see them as our leaders. The only person who is legitimately elected by the party, and we know, is Honorable David Apasera. His instructions alone is what we are going with. He will direct us as to where to go and what to do in the party. Right. And as we are moving from here, we are telling the YC and the courts that they should stand straight and be fair. We don't want to be on the roads. We will not carry cutlasses and guns. We don't have them. But we have senses and we have brains. We know what to say and we know what to do to get the power back for our leader.
All right, so that's all we have for you tonight, so long as political stories are concerned. When we come back, we're bringing you the latest from our world of business. All right, so thank you very much for joining us with the business segment. Well, straight away, some news coming in tonight, so long as business is concerned. Samuel Dubik Mahama, Managing Director of the Electricity Company of Ghana, that's the ECG, has officially resigned, as City News has confirmed. Well, his resignation letter addressed to the board chairman of ECG, Mahama, cited personal reasons for his decision to step down. Well, I would quote his letter: I am writing to formally resign from my position as Managing Director of the Electricity Company of Ghana. Dates: the decision has not come easy, but after much reflection, I have concluded that it is in my best interest to step away for personal reasons. Well, over the past 2 years and 4 months, I have had the profound honor of serving this esteemed organization, that's the ECG, according to what he wrote, and I am truly grateful for the opportunities I have received. In fact, he goes on to say that he wants to extend his heartfelt thanks to the board for the unwavering support and guidance throughout his tenure. Well, we will be serving you much details on this particular story in our subsequent bulletin. But for now, ECG boss has resigned. In other business stories tonight, ActionAid, an international non-profit and development-centered organization, is emphasizing green environment and food security. Well, the organization is urging governments, particularly in Africa, to redirect financing and tax holidays granted to multinational conglomerates to agroecology to enhance food security.
Since the Paris Agreement, banks have provided $3.2 trillion to fossil fuel expansion and $370 billion to industrial agriculture, exacerbating climate change. It is in this regard that ActionAid is advocating for shifts towards agroecology, sustainable farming practices that work with nature, avoid emissions, and offer numerous environmental, social, and cultural benefits. According to the country director of ActionAid, supporting agroecology, financial institutions and governments can contribute to food security, sustainable development, and climate justice.
To be able to salvage this situation, ActionAid in this research is calling for the redirection of fund flows from the corporate institutions to agriculture production, in this case agroecology. In addition to that, we are calling on government to invest in a just transition that should see a lot more investment into renewable energy transition and also sustainable agriculture, and this will help in addressing the sustainable development goals across the world.
Vice Chancellor of the University for Development Studies, Professor Seydou Al-Hassan, on his part said the drought spell up north imparting livelihood is an indication of negligence on leadership.
It's the way we go about things, especially in societies where law and order have failed. That is where you can experience these things. There is division, opposition. Some people want it done, others don't want it done. Some people want it fixed, others don't want it fixed. And it's all about law and order. It is all about, partisanship.
The acting Pro-Vice Chancellor of the University of Energy and Natural Resources, Professor GHOne, stressed that the academia is poised for collaboration to ensure food sovereignty.
The awareness is created to all levels of society, including farmers, to their children, and the elderly in the society. Now, the politicians are also aware of climate change, and I even ask ActionAid continue to drum home the need to focus on fighting the menace of climate change. The support from the universities are guaranteed because we have that tight collaboration and want to continue to work with them.
The 2024 National Climate Justice Conference is themed Shift the Finance from Funding Fossil Fuels and Industrial Agriculture, Promote Food Security through Agroecology and Indigenous Seed Development.
All right, so that's about all we have for you in business tonight. The giant in sports, Benghazi, is coming up shortly with the latest from our world of sports.
And now some stories from the Achimota Golf Club here in Ghana with some interesting results of golf games played, this particular weekend. That and some other sports are coming up in sports, but that will be after this. So the Achimota Golf Club came alive as Frederick, Semenu, Duval, and Vasti Amwafo made the big winners at this year's MTN Invitational Golf Tournament. The event marked the first competition of the year edition and attracted golfers from all over the country and Africa as well to partake in the games held over the weekend.
In the men's Group A, Fred Semeno Duval clinched the top spot with an impressive handicap of 12 and 40 points. Justin Buta followed closely with a 10 handicap and 38 points, while Solomon Alote secured third place with a 10 handicap and 37 points. On the women's side, Vasia Mwafo Yeboah triumphed in the ladies Group A, scoring 44 points with a 14 handicap. Catherine Fabi took the runner-up position with a commendable performance. In the men's Group B, Simran Oberoi topped the leaderboard with a 19 handicap and 43 points. Walid Zubi and Kevin Amedo took second and third positions with 41 and 38 points respectively. Cheryl Efiafari emerged victorious in the ladies Group B, scoring 45 points with a 28 handicap, while Marlene Tuniga came in second. In the seniors division, Haja Zinabu Sulemana and Chris Apawapon shared honors, highlighting the competitive spirit of the tournament. For the auxiliary prizes, Simran Oberoi won the longest drive for the men on hole 15, while Floria took the prize for the ladies. Closest to the pin on hole 18 was won by Philip Pex for the men and Leticia Amponsa Mensa for the women. All the winners were awarded fantastic prizes from MTN in recognition of their outstanding performances. Semenu Devor, who won for the men's Group A, expressed his excitement at his triumph as it was rewarding for all the hard work he put into the tournament.
I actually do a lot of range work, play with my coach, and I've put in a fair bit of work. So it's actually it feels great, and it's one of the tournaments in the calendar year of the course. It's one of the tournaments that you look forward to playing, and to actually be able to win it, it actually feels very great.
On her part, Bastia Mwafuyebua, who won in the women's division, said she came to just have fun in the championship.
I wouldn't say I prepared. I just usually come to enjoy my golf. I'm not someone who anticipates to win. I just want a group to play with. And well, I wouldn't say it was difficult for me at all. I mean, for me, it's fun. So when you don't have the mind of winning, or you're not thinking about winning, you just enjoy your game, and it comes naturally. So there was absolutely nothing difficult about it, because I played 39 back, 39 front. Fantastic golf. So for me to be able to win this trophy and this tournament, it means a lot to me.
Meanwhile, board chairman of the MTN, Ishmael Yamson, was honored with a prestigious Emeritus Award by the Achimota Golf Club during the tournament. The award, presented by Frank Edu, president of the Achimota Golf Club, recognized Ishmael Yamson's remarkable contributions and unwavering commitment.
Currently on the European front, Barca currently are leading 1-0 in a La Liga game against Getafe. Also in England, the EFL Cup games ongoing. Now Arsenal are leading Bolton by a goal to 0, and also Liverpool are trailing 1-0 against West Ham. Also an EFL game ongoing currently. In the Europa, currently is 20-0, Man U 0 game being played at Old Trafford, and currently is pegged at 0-0. Some updates from games ongoing in European football. And that's it for our sports. Let's go for a quick turnaround. When we come back, a lot more in the news for you.
Now time for us to refresh you with some entertainment on GHOne, and here this year's celebration to Kwame Nkrumah in his birthplace in Nkrofo was one to remember. Several great musical acts stormed the area, while musicians such as Stonebwoy, Kofi Kinata, Black Rasta, all from Ghana, and Freddie Mewe from Ivory Coast treated residents of Nkrofo and other Ghanaians from far and near to an unforgettable night of performances as part of the Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah concert. Well, the concert is part of this year's commemoration of the Nkrumah Fest. Here are excerpts of some of the performances.
Also from this van.
I've used this OB van for quite a number of big productions, i.e. 3 music awards, the late President Rollis' state funeral, Emmys Africa Awards, and a number of them.
My experience with the GHOne van has been the state of the art equipment they have. Personal experience is you can use it for both indoor and outdoor, all events, conferencing, like anything you need a van to work for you, GHOne provides it.
My experience with the van has been very good. Why? Because it has a number of facilities that I may not get in other vans. You know, the van has a very wide bench that can accommodate all my technical crew, ICCU, switcher, graphics, CG, and all of that. And then it also has a studio, a green room studio that comes with TriCaster. So if you want somebody to do commentary on a live event, you can put that presenter who's in that studio as well and get that running.
To give an experience to our audience who are also watching on TVs and online. Work with an EXO technology system which makes your video mixing with Panasonic cameras, like a lot of other stuff in terms of content you need to get also for your live broadcasts.
I prefer the GHOne van to a lot of other vans I've used, or even doing my own setup on a tabletop setup. Because on a production you see a number of people in the van. And so if you have a very small van, it means that it's going to be choked, and that will affect the creativity as well. The price has been discounted as well to accommodate varied budgets. And so no matter the budget you have, I understand you can have the track and do business with it.
All right, so we appreciate your time tonight. That's all we have for you in tonight's bulletin led by Musa Lanza. On behalf of the entire production team tonight, we salute you and appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your evening.